Hello and welcome to where we will be discussing multiplication of polynomials. In the last video we talked about how to add and subtract polynomials, and in this section we'll learn how to, well, like it says, multiply polynomials. Now hopefully you've already watched the study skills video. I really like this one, it cracks me up. Don't be an idiot. But one of the things they do talk about is how important it is to participate actively. I truly believe that one of the best ways to learn is through active learning. So as you watch these videos, please make sure that you're doing your part, pushing the pause button and working on these problems before, rather than just sitting there and watching it. If you just sit there and watch it, it's no different than a lecture, and lectures just aren't the best way to learn the material. Pause that video, use it to learn off of, and if you have questions on anything that's presented, stop by the tutor center or contact your tutor and get some help with it. You can even contact your teacher if you need to. So, okay, good. Well, let's get started. Again, participate actively. Turn in your work on time. That's another important thing. Make sure you're doing that. And number 3, don't do what an idiot would do. Okay, let's get started with the math. So we learned way back in Chapter 2 a little about multiplication of a polynomial and a constant. This idea that if there was a number outside the parenthesis, that we could take that and distribute, we call it distribution, distribute that number into every value of the parentheses thing. Well, we can do this. We want to revisit this because we're going to kind of build today's lesson off of that prior knowledge. If I take this 5 in, I get 5 times x, which is 5x, plus 5 times 5, which is 25. So that for that first one, we get that answer. I'm going to change my color here. On this next one, again, we would multiply the 3 into everything inside. 3 times 5x is 15x. 3 times negative 7y is negative 21y. And 3 times 15 comes out, 3 times 5 comes out to be 15. So that was the distribution law, which is what we called it. So in today's lesson, we're going to be just doing the same exact thing, except I like to call it super distribution. There's going to be 2 things we need to go in and distribute. So let's take a look at this. Here we have 2 values, and both of these are going to get to these other values. So I'm going to take the x times the x times x is x squared, and x times the negative 5, which is minus 5x, and 2 times x, which is 2x, and then 2 times the negative 5, which is negative 10. Again, we're just taking this value and making sure it gets distributed to everything here, and then taking this value and making sure it gets distributed to everything in the other parenthesis. So we're almost done here. Basically, all we got to do now is combine the like terms. We have negative 5x plus 2x. That comes out to be negative 3x. And so our final answer is there, x squared minus 3x minus 10. Now, some of you, back in your previous math days, may have learned the 4-letter F word to do these problems. I have a hard time writing it up, but don't get mad if I write up the 4-letter F word there. Some of you may have learned this method to do these problems. I'd encourage you not to think of it using the FOIL. Oh, I said it. The F word there. Just because it kind of teaches. It's a limited view of understanding this. If we think of it as distribution, super distribution, we'll do much better. So let me go ahead and do another example here. Let's say that we had x plus 4, and I wanted to multiply that into x squared plus 3x minus 5. Okay, so notice that this is a binomial times a trinomial. Again, we're just going to use the idea of super distribution. In other words, I'm going to take this value right here, this x, and work on distributing it into all the values of the other parentheses. X times x squared, that's x cubed, because we add the powers. And then this times this, x times 3x is plus 3x squared. And x times a negative 5 is minus 5x. Okay, sweet. So I took this first value and I distributed it into all the values in the parentheses. Okay, now I'm going to do the other value here. I'm going to take the 4 and I'm going to distribute. So 4 times x squared, that's plus 4x squared. And then this times this comes out to be plus 12x. And this times this is minus 20. Our last step then is just to simply combine the like terms. X cubes, no other x cubes, so I'm just going to write it, x cubed. X squareds, here's 3x squared and 4x squared. That's 7x squared. Negative 5x and plus 12x, that's plus 7x. And then what about just the numbers? This is the only number available, minus 20. So again, we use superdistribution to answer these questions. Okay, so it's your turn to apply this superdistribution. I've gone ahead and put up here 4 questions for you to try out. Again, you're just going to do superdistribution like we've been talking about. Go ahead and pause the video now and give these 4 problems a try. Then push the play button when you're ready to check your answer. Good luck. Okay, here we go. Let's do it. We're going to go ahead and use the superdistribution laws. So I'm going to take this 2x and I'm going to every value inside the parentheses. Every single one is my goal. So 2x times 5x squared, that becomes 10x cubed. 2x times an x comes out to be 2x squared. And 2x times a negative 3 is minus 6x. That's the first one. Okay, good. Here we have a superdistribution. We're going to take the x and times it to everything inside. So x times x is x squared. And x times negative 5 is negative 5x. Now I'm going to move on to the next value. And so 3 times x is 3x. And then 3 times negative 5, which is negative 15. Now this is good, but we're not quite done because there are some common terms. We can add the negative 5x and 3x, so this really simplifies to x squared. Let's see, negative 5x plus 3x, that comes out to be minus 2x, because negative 5 plus 3, minus 15. That's our answer there on that one. How'd you do? Hopefully all right. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to this one. 2x times 3x becomes 6x squared, and 2x times 5 becomes plus 10x. Okay, this time, now I'm moving on to the second term and multiplying it in. 3 times 3x is plus 9x, and 3 times 5 is 15. Whew, hopefully you had a little more room than I did. It's getting a little crunched in here. We're going to go ahead and combine the like terms. 10x plus 9x is 19x. And so that would be my final answer. X squared, 6x squared plus 19x plus 15. Okay. So again, this is just superdistribution. You're taking one of the values in one side of the parentheses and multiplying it into every value inside the other parenthesis. That's what I'm going to do here as well. Although I'm out of room, so I'm going to go ahead and change this just a little. Okay, I cleaned it up just a little here, and we're ready to get going. So again, I'm going to superdistribute the 2x. I'm going to start with the 2x first. So 2x times x squared comes out to be 2x cubed, because this is like a 1 for the power. And remember, when you multiply exponents, you add the powers. Okay. Then I'm going to take this one times this one. 2x times 2x is a negative 4x squared. And this one times this one, 2x times 5 is plus 10x. Okay, good. Now my second term. 7 times x squared is 7x squared. 7 times a negative 2x is minus 14x. And 7 times 5 comes out to be plus 35. My last step then is to combine the like terms. I've got cubes. Any other cubes? No. Okay, so I write 2x cubed. Now I'm going to do squareds. Squared and a squared. Negative 4 plus 7 comes out to be a positive 3x squared. Now my x's, I've got a 10x and a minus 14x. That's, you add those together, you get negative 4x, and then your value is plus 35. Okay, those kind of take a long time, but if you're thorough and you spend, have lots of room on a piece of paper, take your time, draw your arrows, make sure every value get in to the other parenthesis. Okay. and you should be good to go. Let's go ahead and look at one more type of problem that's going to be interesting to take a look at. Okay, so look at this beast of a problem. This is a trinomial times a trinomial. And there's going to be one that we will, one on your homework, and also one on the test that we take. So we do want to make sure you've seen one of these. They're kind of beast of problems because it's going to be taking this term and multiplying it into all of these, and then this term and multiplying it onto all of these, and then this term and multiplying it onto all those. So it is kind of long. You're going to want to make sure to have plenty of room on your paper. These are ones that can take up like a half page, man. They're brutal. Let's go ahead and take a look. So to do a problem like this, again, we're going to take this term. It's the exact same rules. Nothing changes here. It's just going to take a little longer. 3x squared times 2x squared. Ooh, okay, so I'm going to multiply the numbers, 3 and 2. That's 6x. And remember, when you multiply powers, what do you do with the exponents? You add them. Yeah, you're right. So 6x to the 4th is what we get. Then I take this one times this one. 3x squared times 3x comes out to be 3 times 3 is 9. And it would be x cubed because we add the powers. Then I multiply this to the 7. And we get plus 21x squared. Good. Next part. I'll even change colors here just for fun. We're going to do this 5x. 5x times 2x squared comes out to be 10x to the 3rd because, again, we add the powers. 5x times 3x is 15x squared, and 5x times 7 is 35x. Okay, nice. Now my last step here, again, I'll switch the sign, or switch the color. I've got negative 2. Negative 2 times 2x squared is negative 4x squared. I kind of ran out of room here. This is what I was talking about. Make sure to save yourself plenty of room. And then this times this would be minus 6x. And this times this would be minus 14. Okay, good. So once you get all the multiplication done, then the last step is to combine the like terms. So we'll go ahead and combine our x to the 4th. There is just one of these x to the 4th. What about x cubed? We've got 9 here, 10 here, no others. So that's 19 x cubed. Let's look at x squareds. Here we've got 21x squared and 15x squared and a negative 4x squared. If you bust those out, you get 21 and 15, which is 36, minus 4 is 32x squared. Now we do our x's, and we got 35x minus 6x comes to be out 29x, and then our last value, which is just 14. So again, that's a 3 by 3. We took a trinomial times a trinomial. That's as big as we're going to get, but you could do a lot larger. You could do a 4 times a 4. A 4-term polynomial. That wouldn't be fun. But you could do it. So let's go ahead and give you guys just 3 more problems to try, and then that'll be it for this lesson. Okay, so here are the last 3 questions we'd like you to try out. It's got one of these trinomial times a trinomial that we just did that you get to work on, and then 2 more problems just to make sure that you're understanding this idea of superdistribution. Go ahead and pause the video and try those now in your video notebook, and then we will check your answers. Press play to check the answer. Okay, let's take a look. Trinomial times a trinomial. You're going to want to take your time on this. We're going to take this one. I want a different color. Yeah, here we go. This one times this one. Ooh, x cubed times x squared. Again, x cubed times x squared. When we are multiplying multiplying powers, we add the exponents, 3 plus 2, so it comes out to be x to the 5th. So that's x to the 5th. Then this times this, which comes out to be plus 3x to the 4th, minus this times this, which would be minus 3x cubed. Okay, good so far? Okay, then 3x times x squared comes out to be 3x cubed. Then 3x times 3x, which comes out to be 9x squared. And then 3x minus 3, which is a minus 9x. Okay, good so far? now just this last term, we got to take this 2 to everything. 2 times x squared is just 2x squared. And 2 times 3x is 6x. And again, the 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Like every single one of these into the other parentheses. Kind of gets long. And then our last step, of course, is to just combine the like terms. So x to the fifths. Do we have any other x to the fifths? Nope. X to the fourth. Do we have any other x to the fourths? Nope. X cubes. Oh, here's an x cubed. And here's an x cubed. Oh, that's interesting. We had negative 3x squared, cubed, plus 3x cubed. Those go away. Sweet. Okay. Now, we got, let's see, we did for the fourths, we did our cubes, squareds. We got 9x squared and 2x squared. That comes out to be 11x squared. And then negative 9x plus 6x, that's a minus 3x. And then just my numbers. And that's the answer we should have got for that one there. X to the fifth plus 3x to the fourth plus 11x squared minus 3x minus 6. Okay, this one here. This one was pretty easy, just to kind of make you feel better after that hard one there. We take x times x, and I get x squared. X times negative 5, which is negative 5x. 5 times x, which is positive 5x. And 5 times a negative 5, which is negative 25. Notice here we have a negative 5x plus 5x. Those cancel out. And so our final answer is x squared minus 25. Okay, and on number 7, it was just kind of a test to make sure you knew how to multiply your exponents here. X squared times x to the fourth. You add the powers. We get x to the sixth. X squared times 5 is 5x squared. 3 times x to the fourth is 3x to the fourth. And 3 times 5 is plus 15. Are there any like terms to add here? 6's, no. Squareds, no. 4. So there's no like terms to add. It should be known that if you looked at this and like you were doing this as a test question, this answer probably would not be there because they would have it in descending order. It's usually good to put it in descending order. X to the sixth plus 3x to the fourth, because we do powers. The highest powers come first. Then put your 5x squared plus 15. The answers are really the same, but just know that usually we like to write these in descending order. We're going to make sure that everything in the one set of parentheses gets distributed to the other. So in this problem here, 3x plus 2y times 5x minus 7y, we're going to do exactly that. I'm going to take 3x times 5x. That comes out to be 15x squared. And then 3x times a negative 7y. That comes out to be negative 21. And x times y is just xy. Now I do the second term and distribute it to both of the parentheses. 2y times 5x comes out to be 10xy. You could have written yx, but again, we like to do alphabetical order, so I just put xy there. And 2y times a negative 7y comes out to be negative 14y squared. Our last step is simply to combine the like terms. So I've got an x squared. Any other x squareds here? Nope. So I just write 15x squared. Here I've got an xy. Any other xy's? Right here. So negative 21xy plus 10xy comes out to be a negative 11xy. And then that's also by itself 14y squared. Again, that's pretty much all there is to this, is that when you multiply, just make sure to super distribute. Good. Let's have you guys try a few of these problems. Okay, so here are 3 problems for you to multiply out. They're multivariable multiplication problems because they have 2 variables in them. You're going to go ahead and use super distribution, and then so pause the video now and check your answers by pushing the play button. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to multiply 2a to 5a. That's my first start here, which is 10a squared. Then 2a times 2b, which comes out to be plus 4ab. Okay, then I'm going to take the 3b and multiply it to here. I get plus 15ab. And I'm multiplying the 3b to the 2b, which comes out to be 3 times 2 is 6b squared. So I combine the like terms, 4a and 15b, and I get 10a squared plus 19ab plus 6b squared. That's our final answer on that one. Same thing here, super distribution. X times x squared comes out to be x cubed. X times xy comes out to be x squared y. X times y squared comes out to be plus xy squared. Then negative y times x squared comes out to be negative x squared y. I'm going to do alphabetical order if that's all right. Minus xy squared minus y cubed. Interesting thing about this problem is it looks like when we start combining like terms, I get x cubed. That's cool. Now x squared y's. Now there's another x squared y right here, but it's minus. They cancel out. Okay, so those are gone. Here we have an xy squared. There's an xy squared here as well, but with a minus. Those cancel out. I'm just left with y cubed. Because all the middle stuff in there cancels out. Interesting. Okay, on this last problem here, I'm going to multiply a cubed by a cubed. That's a to the... Ooh, what'd you get? You should have said 6. If you put 9, you missed your exponent rules. Remember, when multiplying powers, we add the exponents. So that's a to the 6th. We then multiply a cubed here, and we get 3a cubed b squared. Then we multiply b squared times a cubed. We get plus a cubed b squared. And then these last ones together, we get plus 3b to the 4th power, because you add the exponents. Last thing is to combine the like terms. The middle stuff here is like, because it's a cubed b squared. A cubed b squared. It comes out to be a to the 6th plus 4a cubed b squared plus 3b to the 4th. I kind of ran out of room on that one. Hopefully you can see it over there at the bottom right hand corner. Okay, you can continue on to the assignment. If you need help, make sure to contact a tutor or stop by the tutor center or your teacher. We'd love to help out. Thanks for watching.